Okay, everybody, I got a thing here. Mixfan 8643 did this about what? About 3 hours ago, and 3 hours 10 seconds ago. So I'm trying to look at the time frame here. About 11:19 a.m. And basically, the title says it right there. Why it doesn't say why do I, but it says why Mixedfan8643 likes Ian Flynn so much. And this is what he says. This is what he says, and I quote: "Hi, hey everybody, it's your probably not so old pal Mixedfan8643 here again. So I'm here to answer the question that I'm pretty sure a lot of you people, especially Archie Sonic haters, are wondering. Why in the name of donuts do I have such a high opinion on current head writer of the Archie Sonic the Hedgehog comic, Ian Flynn? I'm sure at least one of you has seen me constantly praise the guy and treat him like the next Alan Moore or something. I don't hold him in capitalized that high of regard, but I still love the guy. And I bet you really do wonder on why do I like Ian Flynn so much. Why do I think so highly of him despite all the things that haters bash him for? Why do I enjoy his work so much, and why am I so defensive of it? Well, that's what I'm here to tell you about. That's what I'm here to tell you. I'm going to tell you as best I can without sounding biased and opinionated why I like Ian Flynn so much. If there's any Ian Flynn haters reading this, then capitalize, please be constructive on what you have to say, and please don't bash this journal or anything. You're allowed to tell us why you hate him so much, so I'm allowed to tell you why I like him so much. That way, we're on equal footing. So here we go, as I tell you in categories why I like Ian Flynn's writing for this underappreciated scientific hedgehog comic book so much. Alright, number one, and these are Mixedfan8643 reasons. Number one, his stories are creative and interesting. Ian does the almost impossible of being able to write both serious and silly stories. When he does a silly story, it's usually very funny and a fun read. Those stories put the quote-unquote comic in comic book. Quote-unquote Treasure Team Tango is the prime example of Ian's funniness. But when Ian does a serious story, it's always epic and a blast to read. Now, what do I mean that his stories are creative and interesting? Well, the stories he tells aren't cliched or done to death, and sometimes the stories even feel new. Some of his creativeness really shows in, say, brand new Mobius in Iron Dominion. The way he writes Nicole and uses New Mobotropolis is always fun to read, and Ian uses established facts to his advantage. If he didn't, then the Iron Dominion saga wouldn't have been as cool as it turned out. One example of his creativity that capitalized always brings to mind is Mogul Rising. Not only does he do a new take on the "you could save one of your friends" idea, but he gives Mammoth Mogul the brilliant idea of retiring from villainy and simply capitalize waiting Sonic to death. That's a cool idea and a great thing for an immortal villain to do. You don't often see that in capitalize any form of media. So kudos for such creativity and brilliant thinking there, Mr. Flynn. I do agree that is kind of a unique idea. Also, it's not often we have a case of quote-unquote anti-counterpart strives to be different from prime counterpart, do we? And that's what made Bold New Mobius a cool and unique story. because Ian gives the anti-counterparts something new. It makes them more than just anti-counterparts. I'll be amazed if anyone actually prefers the old anti-freedom fighters over the new ones. So yeah, I like Ian Flynn's storytelling because it's creative and interesting. I love to see that loser Ken Penders come up with anything remotely close to interesting. Number 2, he makes the characters more like characters. Say what you want about Ken and Ian, but we can all agree that Ian Flynn is, capitalized, worlds better at character development than Ken. Here's what I mean. Ian Flynn gives the characters interesting and compelling character arcs to make the characters more alive and real than the writers before him. The characters under Ian's pen all have flaws, and they make mistakes that they have to fix. They also experience emotion much more than before, and the development Ian gives them makes them far more three-dimensional than before. Mina Mongoose, Jeffrey St. John, and Fiona Fox are perfect examples. They don't have much going for them under the writers, and were either a Mary Sue, Mina, and an unlikable and complete jerk-ass for no reason, Jeffrey, or had as much personality as Bella Swan, Fiona. Ian comes along and then, boom! These characters suddenly have character to them, and are less cardboard cutouts or Arthur avatars. Mina's attention to him and Fiona... I kind of got ahead of myself there, I apologize. Mina is now a full three-dimensional character. Jeffrey St. John has more going for him now, has given me reason to pay attention to him. And Fiona finally, capitalized, has a personality. True, Ian probably didn't need to turn Jeffrey and Fiona evil, but why do I care? They weren't interesting under the other writers, and now Ian gives them these new elements. I actually have okay. They weren't interesting under the other writers, and now Ian gives them these new developments. I actually have a reason to pay attention to them now. I take Ian's Jeffrey and Fiona over Ken and Carl's Jeffrey and Fiona any day. Ian even makes the Sadie Am cast more like characters. Sally Acorn being the best example. Sally in Sadie Am was just a role model, and you Sadie Am fans know this. Well, there was more to it, I'll be honest, but you do have a point. But you are, well, not a point, but you do have a right to your opinions, that's okay. But I think that she was more than just a role model, but you have your opinion, and for you, that's how you feel, that's fine. Sally in Sadie Am was just a role model, and you Sadie Am fans know this. She had nothing going for her, and was shamelessly overglorified by Ben Hurst simply because he loves her. I apologize, and here Mixedfan apologizes to Ben Hurst fans. Under Ian, though, Sally is actually more three-dimensional and less glorified and less like a role model. She has flaws and makes mistakes, as well as experiences more emotions than before. That's the Sally Acorn I can go for. Rhoda Warris is vastly improved under Ian, too. He was pretty bland and boring under previous writers, but Ian's made him more like a character and less like a Tails replacement. Face it, guys, that's all he was in Sadie Am. A cheap replacement for Tails. Giving him the nanite suit was a good idea. Rhoda's no longer just a mechanic, he's a mechanic and a fighter. And that instantly makes him more invigorating than before. Ian Flynn sure knows how to put these characters, Ian Flynn sure knows how to develop these characters and make them more interesting and likable than ever before. Pity he can't redeem Ash, Mongoose, and Hamlin the pig, though. And those are great points, Mixedfan. Those are great points. But you might want to do another journal where you talk about how he develops Bunny and Antoine, because people are going to get you on that. Alright, number 3. The issues written by him have great artwork. Well, that's Tracy Yardlin's work. The Panda Bowlers era of the comic had some fine artwork from time to time, but it was too overly detailed and looked more like a DC or Marvel comic. When I picked up a Sonic comic, I expect the artwork to look like Sonic, not freaking DC or Marvel. If I want artwork like that, I'd go read DC or Marvel comics. But also the artwork in that era could get pretty damn bad, with John Gray and Ron Lim being the prime examples. Only Stephen Butler was any good during that time. Sorry I don't like Jay Axel or Don Best. The Flynn era of the comic book, however, is a vast improvement. The artwork actually looks like Sonic the Hedgehog now, thanks to the unbeatable talents of Tracy Yardlin, Stephen Butler, Ben Bates, and Jamal Peppers. They give the comic the artwork I expect to see in a Sonic comic. The artwork is very Sonic/Sega-like, while also being well detailed, fluid, and expressive. And it seems that we'll be getting some more of that great artwork from newcomer Lamar Wells. Too, seeing his awesome work on the front cover to issue 247. Congrats on getting hired, Trunks 24. Let me check my time here. I may have to do this in 2 parts. Alright, number 4. His stories keep me coming back wanting more. That's number 4. His stories keep me coming back wanting more. Reading the issues from both eras of the comic have been in varying experiences. The Ken Cole Mike era of the comic felt like a chore to read and didn't really motivate me that much. Ian's stories, however, are a joy to read and keep me coming back wanting more. His interesting ideas, mixed choices, and directions keep me motivated throughout the entire comic, and the cliffhangers are always nail-biting and make me want to see the next issue. That's great writing there. 5. He gives obscure characters new purpose. And let me check my time here before I do anything. Okay. Still got plenty. About a minute, two and a half minutes. Number 5. He gives obscure characters new purpose. Remember how the earlier writers of the Sonic comics would make 1 million characters between them and abandon 80% of them? Well, Ian uses the comic's large cast of characters, remembered and forgotten, to his advantage. Unlike the other writers, Ian cares about the characters, especially ones that have been tossed into the dustbin. He brought back obscure characters like the Badniks, Harvey Who, Larry Lynx, the Iron Queen and Iron King, Dr. Ventivius, and even the Wolf Twins. All those characters didn't really have much use under the other writers, but Ian gives them all new purposes and a new use. The Iron Queen and Iron King are legitimate threats now. Harvey Who is an actual character instead of a joke character. Larry Lynx is awesome, Dr. Ventivius is a cool villain, and the Wolf Twins actually have something to do now. Also, need we forget about Shard? If it wasn't for Ian Flynn bringing back the Forgotten Metal Sonic 2.5 model, then Shard would never have been created. And bringing him back shown that you shouldn't leave every character you create to collect dust. You should hold on to them, for there's always use for them somewhere. He's even given the Substitute Freedom Fighters and Tails' parents new purpose too. Pity they're still useless, like the Substitute Freedom Fighters sings Larry, form that stupid Council of Acorn, and Tails' parents are unlikable as hell. They should have stayed on Aji Team, I say, because they're just taking up space in my opinion. Let me check my time. I'm going to have to take a break here.